just made this pot of chili. Okay, I'm sure you're wondering, why do I need to make an enormous pot of chili? Well, let me just welcome you over, and I'd like to explain how to convert a large batch recipe for your next event. Chili's wholesome, delicious, and very affordable. Besides, you can offer a plethora of toppings where guests could customize it to their palate. So, you need to host an event on a budget? Let me explain just how to get that big pot of chili successfully made on your stovetop. Let's go. Also, good cooking is method and principle based, so you should be able to apply the tips that I'm offering to any chili recipe. Just remember to brown your meat, to caramelize the vegetables that you're adding in. I like to add a little bit of flour for thickening. Saute that up as if you're making a roux straight in the pan, and then deglaze. Follow all the tips that I'm offering, and you should be able to utilize this concept to convert over any small recipe to create a big batch. There are even handy tools like recipe converters where you could add in each ingredient separately and increase the serving size from whatever the recipe suggests to the number you're trying to serve. This batch made about 1.5 deep full hotel pans worth. Therefore, it served about 50 people. I just wanted to pop in and share with you my process in converting an online recipe that served maybe 4 to 6 portions to enough to serve a crowd of 50. So join me, I will coach you along, and you can apply this concept to any other recipe. You could just simply use I think it's one called Websteront, or you can look up recipe converter. It will allow you to plug in each ingredient, and from there you will need to put in the portion size you need. And of course you'll have to make some common sense adjustments. Like for instance, you're not going to need 10 pounds of onions for a chili recipe. Then you might want to use a whole 3-pound bag versus 1 or 2 onions. So you have to make some adjustments where it makes sense, but I'm telling you, you can get it done. So join me and I will offer my little help. I have this humongous pot here. It takes up almost my whole stove, or 2/3 of it, and I just did my chili. I used the recipe that was in there as a guide. Instead of using the crock pot, I browned it on the stovetop. Tip I would suggest is to make sure that you brown the meat and season it thoroughly. Taste it, make sure you actually see signs of browning. And I make chili a lot, and I don't like my chili very watery. So I always add a little flour to the meat after I have browned it and seasoned it. I add a little bit of the seasoning, not all of it, but a little bit of the seasoning with that brown meat at the end to kind of like bloom and toast. And then I add, for this big old pot, like it's halfway filled, and this is a huge restaurant supply store rondo. I don't know the measurements, but it's 2/3 the width of my oven. So for this amount, I did 3 big packs of ground turkey. It was 9 pounds as opposed to 10 because I knew I had enough beans to compensate for it. So I did that. After browning and seasoning, I added about a cup of flour and mix that in. Let's roll that back. What did I do? Before adding the flour, after browning the meat and adding more seasoning to toast, like the chili powder, the cumin, the garlic, the raw garlic to kind of lightly golden. Then I added the canned tomato product to do 2 things. It deglazed the pan, to stop the spices and the garlic from burning. And then it'll also intensify the tomato flavor, kind of bring out the natural sugars on the tomato. So I kind of stirred that around until it was dry, like pasty looking. Then at that point, I added my cup of flour, stirred it around. You know, we had oil in there from browning the turkey, so technically I just made a roux, kind of sort of after reducing the tomatoes. So I added the flour, stirred it around until it was kind of pasty, cooked it for like a minute, and then I added my liquid. And you could do the broth, or in my case, I like to buy the concentrate here. It just gives me more flexibility. That way I can add more to intensify the flavor if I need to. And I did 3 pitchers of this of water. This is a 8-cup pitcher. So I did 3, maybe more, like 3 1/4 of those for this big pot. Then I added, after I made sure the flame was on low, I stirred it around, making sure that pasty meat mixture could incorporate into the water without any clumps forming. Once that was completely mixed in, I cranked up the heat to a boil. Once it came to a boil, I could see how thick it would actually be, and it was like a nice sauce consistency where it coated the back of the spoon. And of course it got thicker as I added the beans. So after I did that, then I added my peppers, my onions, and I added the beans, and I started tweaking the seasoning. And I personally am still playing with this because I'm not satisfied with how it tastes. So I added a little onion powder, I added more garlic powder, and I added like 3 tablespoons of sugar just to cut the sharp tomato flavor. And I added a little splash of lime because I didn't want to taste the lime. It just needed something. So I'm still kind of playing with the salt, the pepper, and everything to make sure it tastes satisfactory to me. But I can make a great pot of chili. But I was looking at that recipe, it was like, oh, this is like crockpot style and blah, 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 blah. And I just wanted to share the tweaks that I did, so that if you find you're in the same predicament, you might be able to apply some of the things I've done. And if you've already kind of gotten to that point and your chili's watery, you can just make a slurry. I did it in my bullet because I'm making a pot for my family. So I did the same thing, but I saw that my chili needed a little bit more thickening. So I did a quick slurry in the bullet since I pureed my garlic in there, and I just pulled up more of the garlic that was in the bullet and made sure there were no lumps in the slurry. So not that that's necessary. Sorry, I'm rambling. But you could totally do the slurry in a bowl and just beat it until there are absolutely no lumps with cold water. And you can add maybe like a tablespoon at a time, making sure that once you add that slurry, you bring it to a boil so you can see how thick it is. So this is my finished chili. It's on low right now. It's completely done and fully cooked. As you can see, it doesn't look watery and it's not separated, and that's why I like to add a little slurry. I'm going to add just a splash more water to thin it out, and I'm going to keep playing with the flavoring, trying to make sure it doesn't get too salty. But it's a wrap, and I pray that all is well. Happy prepping. Thanks again for watching. I hope that I was able to offer a little bit of enlightenment and boost your confidence in converting a small recipe into a large one. You can make a nice buffet fit for a crowd in a decent budget by customizing it to suit your needs. Make something yummy today.